for those fibers. Okay. But otherwise, I don't think so. So the other part that comes along with the sympathetic division, the adrenal gland. When we were looking at the picture here, one of the things that I got you to note is that that green prefiber did not synapse until it met the medulla of the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands, they're sitting on top of the kidneys. They have what's called the medulla, and they have the cortex. Each part of these glands, the medulla has a job to do, and the cortex has a job to do. The adrenal cortex, that outer layer, that's going to come into play when we start talking about the endocrine system. The adrenal medulla will come back again. We're looking at it now, but it's going to come back again when we talk about the endocrine system. In this medulla area of the adrenal gland, those cells that exist are modified neurons. The cells that exist in the adrenal medulla are modified neurons. They don't have any fibers, okay? They're pretty much just the cellular portion, cell body, and the way that they're going to be able to allow to be synapsed upon. So that pre-ganglionic fiber, if you remember, it went all the way, made its way to the medulla, and that's where a direct pre-ganglionic sympathetic division fiber synapses. The medulla gets direct stimulation from the sympathetic division. So it's termed the sympatho-adrenal system because you're getting a direct synapse of the pre-ganglionic fiber onto modified cells of the adrenal medulla. Now, what does this do? The product that gets released makes its way directly into the bloodstream. Meaning, as these hormones, because that's what they are, they make their way into the bloodstream, they now go to all tissues, or they can go, I should say, they can go to all tissues of the body. For the most part, we know the product as adrenaline. So those cells of the medulla secrete their product. Their product, for the most part, is epinephrine, what we know as adrenaline. There's a little bit of noradrenaline because we actually need that for adrenaline. And then a little bit of dopamine. Those products get released into the bloodstream They are part of the sympathetic division, and they are going to stimulate the target cells of the body, i.e., the adrenaline rush. Now, how quickly does that happen? People who are adrenaline junkies, okay, how quick does that rush happen? Milliseconds. It is quick, okay? Everybody in here, I'm sure you've had an adrenaline rush, right? Okay? I mean, depending on how sensitive you are to it, you note it more times than others, okay? But then, I don't know, let's say that the adrenaline rush that maybe like an adrenaline junkie might like is base jumping, okay? And they gear up and they get up to the really tall building, and then, you know, they've got their little parachute on and everything, and they take off running and boom, all right? They've got their rush, okay? Takes what, a couple of seconds to get down to the sidewalk or the street or whatever? But then, how long does it take to calm down from that adrenaline rush?
It takes a little bit.
They could still be feeling that rush the next day. This is why. Because it was chemicals that got released into the blood. Therefore, the body has to go through the processes of breaking those chemicals down and getting them back to being waste, or if it's a product that can be reused, getting it back to that point. So, even when we have the sympathetic division kick in and we get that huge adrenaline rush, and if we chose to fight, like i.e., jump off that building, okay, or flee, turn around and run and go back down the ladder, okay, either way, there was a rush, okay, and now it is up to this division to say, calm down. Okay? The body cannot sustain this. We need to calm down. So it's the parasympathetic division that wants to do the calming down. Now, take a peek at the page labeled parasympathetic. Once again, they're trying to represent with the fibers, okay, where these fibers originate. So this division is called my craniosacral. If you look at the fibers, where are they coming from?
Cranium and sacral.
The cranium and the sacrum. So, my craniosacral division. Fibers now will get to travel in cranial nerves and then sacral nerves. Just doesn't look like it gets the same amount of attention, does it, compared to the sympathetic? So now, my pre-ganglionic fibers, the ones that are being represented in green, my pre-fiber is relatively long. The post is very short, if at all, okay? Because it can synapse directly onto the target tissue. The origins since we're talking about brain, midbrain, pons, medulla. Primitive. They are coming from the primitive region of my brain. One, I am not controlling. The sacral region, basically 2 segments, or 3, 2 to 4. That's it. The pre-fiber ends at a terminal ganglia, which you can see some of them being represented in the picture, or at or near my target organ. So that pre-fiber, extremely long, post, relatively short, very short. The parasympathetic division is selective in stimulating a target organ. Now, for the most part, you will see these 2 divisions working together to keep tone. But in the case of the true fight or flight, okay, it's going to be selective at that point. So just under normal conditions, the 2 divisions pretty much work together. But in true fight or flight, sympathetic tends to have more of an effect than parasympathetic. So this time, very little divergence. Very little, okay? Way less than what we saw in the sympathetic division, because it's going to be much more selective. When we look at this picture that I've tried to hand out, one, two, three, four. Four. Compared to what from my sympathetic division? Anybody else just looking at it going, how do I ever calm down?
Well, that's not the important part. The important part is getting you safe, and then you can let your body just rest and calm down. That's the difference.
Because this system is known as rest and digest. So the fight or flight is the body saying, I have detected that there is a possible threat to the existence of this species, and it needs to protect this species, i.e. fight the threat or flee the threat, get to safety. After that, it's just simply, okay? So, we work by way of 1, 2, 3, 4 cranial nerves. Oculomotor, facial, glossopharyngeal, and then vagus. We've talked about vagus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so note the vagus nerve. It touches pretty much all viscera. So, there you go. I don't need 5 other nerves. Okay?